Welcome to part 3. Is the point of one nationalist to be the enemy of another? If nationalism is just about power and revenge, then that is not nationalism but something else. If by taking revenge we are just giving the excuse or right of revenge to our enemy who will harm the ones we love, who would give such a right to their enemy? Do we love our enemies more than we love our own people? The best revenge, or the best action, as Marcus Aurelius said, is not to be like your enemy. We might understand that past enmities between nations are going to influence our emotions, but it is not our emotions that disturb us, but the logical conclusions or confusing projections caused by bias for or against we put on to what we want from the forum of debate. If we had got to a debate and had a forum, then it is half the battle. Even Hitler believed in negotiations and treaties, even though he broke many. I would cite that his view on the neutrality of Turkey is one of the major reasons why he didn't co-opt them into or invade them during World War II, which both the Allies and the Axis considered. The argument for nationalism to prevent war by basing nationalism on a common philosophy of Western rationalism in the West and find other forms of rationalism in the East or Africa or South America, etc., wherever folks want to or seek cooperation and have the same basis of rational ethical goals, then we should find a method to assist them against tyranny, totalitarianism, Neo-feudalism, etc. It is the Go or spatial dominance strategy versus the chess strategy. Go is a Chinese and Japanese game about spatial dominance. At the moment, we are facing the problem. Wrong by being negative and allowing. We are facing the wrong problem. By being negative and allowing forces of defeatism, not only will opposing philosophies or totalitarian means, but also within nationalism by being defeatist or choosing to focus on one power group being so strong that we are told to resist but that we can never win. This is an irrational conspiracy theory. No one group dominates, otherwise we would not see asymmetric warfare in another group's territory, i.e. terrorism, as a tactic or a strategy of tension, or other strategy of tension. If one group dominated, then there would be no need for a strategy of tension. If the West dominated it, would only be our conscience that constrained us to act, but then only at our choosing. Why, for instance, after 9/11, if we are so powerful, did we not attack Saudi Arabia directly, where the heart of the problem is, or treat Afghanistan the way Alexander the Great of Macedonia or Genghis Khan did and win quickly and brutally? I used to strongly believe that nationalism could just be a transitional phase to a new political situation where nationalism framed the discussion around what economics was for in terms of social markets, etc., i.e. to increase the idea that the nation comes before the citizens' interests. But how can this be so clear-cut? The citizens are what makes up any current nation. Their actions in duty or lack of determine the nation's potential. This is something that Hitler did not understand when he said the individual is insignificant. Before the individual was the nation, after the individual is the nation. He confused the cultural nation with the potential nation without what was current, i.e., the living citizens of the living nation who are creating the social community of the nation and the present context of the living cultural nation and potential nation, the context given to those yet to be born. That is a more comprehensive and rational conception of nationalism, where citizens' consensual principle is applied to rights and duties within cultural norms. But yes, national societal good comes before private interest. So, no, nationalism must not just be a transition nor an end state in itself. Its only conceptual point is to be a tool for the propagation of genes, cultural memes that produce growth in the nation's population and the citizens' prosperity, in learning, in virtues, pleasures and material culture, i.e. science, innovation, technology, sustenance, that continue the nation to be apt to survival and to survive. It's a virtuous cycle of inputs producing a greater synthesis of information and actions. Just like all conceptions, intellectual or physical tools, which are just products of previous technology and human innovation to get utility via goods and services. This is what is and creates new money in the economy, and thus is the growth of real new money is in harmony with the context of human economic activity. It will be apt to survive, which is the whole point of human activity, talent and organisations, so that we can live fulfilled lives and produce the next generation. I agree with you that altruism can be at the service of not those who want an altruistic solution that benefits everyone, but those who want to cause harm, but so can parasitical self-interest. They are symptoms and tactics used by people throughout history and today. So we must define a goal and by increments reduce the margin of error, to take a small steps, agreeing on each step via consent. If not, nationalism will be used by every totalitarian view to destroy nationalism's own goal. If we want perfection and try to leap forward to it, then it will probably not happen. But that does not mean that we don't find rational solutions via the methods I and others have outlined to reach a better context by increments. This is how nature works. It is not just about predation or parasitic behaviour. It is not about perfection or degeneration. It is about aptness both of individual species and the synthesis of actions that make a community of interest in keeping the whole system to survive. In viewing nature then as a model, it makes sense for nationalism to develop a cooperative model of institutions such as cooperative citizens' central banks, so that each citizen has a share, one share, and no citizen is discriminated against by banks making an apartheid system of credit, i.e. the fractional reserve banking system. We own central banks, and central banks serve the nation. Capital serves the nation, not the other way around. If we have cooperative banking, cooperative central banking, cooperative healthcare and cooperative services, public services, we will get true nationalism as a functional model, where everyone has a community of interest with each other as citizens,